Hey there, folks. Thanks for checking out my third Liberty's Flame vlog. I'm entitling this one, The Insidious Left. If you're a liberal, I hope you'll stick around. If you're a hardcore leftist, my jumping in front of a bullet for you would not change your mind about conservatives or conservatism. So this video is probably not for you. So my premise for this third edition is this. Leftists in positions of political power, as well as those in the news media, often talk through two sides of their face. It sounds a little partisan and unfair, but I'm going to back it up. I say this because they are either rank liars and propagandists or are woefully unself-aware. Either way, for the American left to be successful in the United States, it must embrace contradictory positions and hope that the general population never notices the inconsistencies. For the sake of brevity, I will provide 4 examples. God knows I could fill a few hours with examples. Love hatred for the U.S. Constitution, or I should say love/hatred for the U.S. Constitution. The left expresses both reverent respect for and anathema against the U.S. founding as a whole. Joe Biden, in a campaign video posted here on YouTube on April 25th, started out by quoting the Declaration of Independence, praising its ideals. When the Trump administration refused to participate in the impeachment inquiry, numerous segments on CNN accused President Trump of initiating a, quote, constitutional crisis, end quote. The left was so concerned about the Constitution. Yet these same lefties also tell us how white supremacist and outdated that same Constitution is. So you tell me, Democrats, is a constitutional crisis a good thing or a bad thing? Another thing the left is fond of reminding us constantly is this is not who we are. Now, when do they say that? Well, when the Trump administration, for example, wants to secure the border, we're reminded of that aforementioned phrase. This is not who we are. But if we are so wonderful and stand for so much good, why did President Obama declare that the United States needed a fundamental transformation? Would you tell your significant other, honey, I love you, you just need a fundamental transformation? How long do you think he or she would stick around? One of my favorites, this goes back to the Iraq War. Number 3 is dissent is the highest form of patriotism. That is, until you disagree with the left. Then you are racist, bigoted, homophobic, xenophobic, transphobic, misogynistic, a hater of the elderly, a hater of the poor, and deserving of being expelled from your job, your community, social media, and in some cases, your life. And last but not least, item number 4. We are just a few sparks away from far-right fascist violence. How long has the left warned us that the threat of violence and fascism come from the right end of the ideological spectrum? But when in fact the violence and fascistic attacks come from the left, Democratic Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi says, people will do what they do. Isn't that nice? What was Vice Presidential candidate Kamala Harris's take on these so-called protests? On June 17th on Colbert, she said, they're not going to stop. This is a movement, I'm telling you. They're not going to stop, and everyone beware because they're not going to stop. I suppose they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. Everyone should take note of that on both levels. I'm not sure what she meant by that. They're not going to let up, and they should not, and we should not. No distinguishing rioters from protesters. Despite her more recent critique of rioting, she has driven efforts to bail out those who have rioted and looted. This is your vice presidential candidate, Democrats. That's the kind of lady you want second to the frickin' White House position itself? CNN reported that the protests have been largely peaceful, as we see fires raging in the background of their on-site reporting. Their own Chris Cuomo asked, show me where it says that protesters are supposed to be peaceful. Well, for one, the U.S. Constitution, biting my tongue here. Suddenly, we see or hear no concern about people carrying guns, as we've seen in the Carolinas recently with a Black Lives Matter protesting of a Confederate monument, assaulting and sometimes even killing others, destroying property, including many black-owned businesses, or a failure to wear masks or socially distance. Unless, of course, you're going to go to church. Then all of a sudden there's a big uproar about it. With all of this and many, many more examples, if you're still voting left, why are you doing so? If you leave for a conservative state because there's more freedom, less taxes, and more safety, why are you still voting left? Does that make any sense? I doubt you're stupid, okay? So why are you doing such a stupid thing? If you want domestic tranquility, if you want job opportunities, if you want to be secure walking the streets of big cities like New York and Seattle, vote Trump, vote conservative, because the left is not going to provide you these things. We've seen this in our big cities for decades. They keep making promises, keep warning about the dangers of racism as keeping the racial minorities down. They've had 50, 60, 70 years to fix the problem in some of these cities. Have they done it yet? Have they condemned left-wing violence? If anything, they've enabled it. Look at Ted Wheeler and the way he sided with the protesters in Portland. Bill de Blasio in New York City. Kamala Harris, the state attorney general of New York, and several other states. They actually bail these people out. They prosecute people defending themselves from them. And these are the people that you vote for. You want to know why there are at least 100,000 people who've already left New York City? You want to know why? Because the people you keep voting for. Your policies are the policies of death, not life. We've seen this for decades. I don't know how to make the point anymore. I could cite more examples, but like I said, this video will be freaking hours. Anyway, I hope this video finds you all well. I hope you're all healthy and one piece. I hope you're working too. Till next time.